Good morning, everyone. I hope you're feeling good. It's early in the morning. This is the first session in the architecture slot, and we are talking about reducing complexity in a decentralized IT. So, nothing really new because there's always complexity if you are in a decentralized IT, but uh, we try to explain you how you can make it better and easier for you and your environment with our experience at GLS. So, in that session, we have two persons to present the slides. So, my name is Jörg Mecke. I'm the senior portfolio manager of Group IT. What does it mean? As a portfolio manager, you have to take care that all the country organizations that belong to GLS know what we serve on a group-wide base and to listen carefully what they need. So it's a kind of technical consultancy, a kind of sales approach, but sales is not the right word because it's not about the money. But this is my day-to-day work to talk to my internal customers. Yeah,
Yeah, good morning.
you're muted.
My name is Björn.
Unfortunately.
Sorry.
Björn?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Starts very good. That
Yeah.
we have a technical issue at 9:17 in the morning.
Great.
We still can't hear you. Björn?
Yeah, it should work, I guess, but obviously you can't hear me much.
No. Okay. Maybe the organizer can help us.
Very great.
I will try to continue that it's not boring for you in the morning or that you leave that session. We want to give you a deeper look with three examples how we faced the challenges that we have. So our kind of approach, so three really different one, and our way forward, what we will want to do in the future, so the next year and the year after. So Björn is trying to dial in again. Hopefully he will be with us very soon, that we can continue. But as you know, like always, IT is not perfect. So please hold the line. He's on the way to make it to this presentation. Hopefully you didn't have these issues to log into the platform, the StreamYard platform that we are using today. So waiting for the organizer to let him in. Oh, no, do not move on this. Okay, so as long as Björn is not with us, I will try to move on with the next slide. So GLS is a real decentralized company. So you know us as a parcel company, and what we are doing is that we face the challenge to make our business are in a lot of different countries because parcel shipment is not a a domestic part, it's an international part. So so this is our network, and we have IT staff located in 27 locations all over the globe. So not all over the globe, but it's mainly Europe and North America. So you see a lot of countries here, and of course Poland is included. Here we are in the headquarters in Poznan of GLS Poland, but IT staff is located in many other places. And saying this, that means that it's not just a cultural thing to work together from a company culture, but having people in the different regions. So that means that you have to take care of the local specifics of the market, that you have to take care of the cultural specifics of each country, and of course that you that working together is in some cases it's also a language barrier that we have. So there's still technically there's Björn joining.
Hi, can you hear me?
We can't hear you. Still not.
I don't know.
So maybe you come over in that office here.
So give me one chance.
That we continue.
And the second chance. And it's not working. Okay, I come over to you.
We can't hear you. It's really strange what's going on. Looks like that Murphy is next to us here. Take a seat. And then we move the camera. So we try to do it virtually in a better way. So please introduce yourself.
Hello, good morning. Sorry for the technical hiccup. Yeah, actually a good example of IT problems. Yeah, my name is Björn Morr. I'm the team lead of the architecture team within GLS. So yeah, we are basically focused on helping all our teams across the globe. As you see here, we have quite some development teams in different countries and different organizations, and we try to support all of them with technical knowledge and provide them with a couple of services as well that we will go through and show you as an example today as well.
Thank you. So, and this is a challenge. So it's really a balance to make the best of local innovation. So we have cool people at different locations. So we have about 1,200 IT pros in our organization. Lovely people all over the globe, really creative. But to be creative in a decentralized way means that group-wide standards are not easy to achieve, and we have to deal with that.
Yeah, and especially, I mean, today, all of you want for sure ship parcels across the globe. So there are some standards needed in order to facilitate that global logistics network and to be able to work together. So we can't avoid that fully. Yeah, but as you said, it's in the end a balance that you have to keep.
Yeah.
Yes. So one approach that we are trying to use quite a lot is platform engineering. So within my area, we have some platform engineering teams which are focused on providing certain platforms, tools, all of that as a service to our product development teams. So the product development teams are the teams working on some logistics applications. Yeah, so the tracking website or something like that, apps that you might have used personally as well. And the platform engineering team has to go to help them and provide them the services to ease their development. Yeah, so it could be some pipelines and whatnot. So we have some examples for you in the presentation today as well. So don't worry about that. Yeah, and we are basically having different layers of platform teams that are providing services to our teams. So we have a lower level infrastructure. Think about like VMs. So in certain areas, we have our own data centers where we provide some infrastructure. And then we have the higher level platform engineering teams, which build up on the infrastructure and provide some digital platforms to our teams. So what's important here is that those platform engineering teams really have to provide the services in as a service mindset to the teams. So they have to take care about operations, support, provide enough knowledge and guidance to the teams. And also it is very helpful, or in certain areas, it's mandatory to have self-service capabilities to our product development teams. So like you see here in top with providing a developer portal, so that product teams can consume those services very easy themselves and don't have to ask the platform team for every little detail, like create me some new pipeline, create some repository here and there. Yeah, so there should be some interface, some common interface that teams can use. Yes, looking on that on a more technical perspective, how we are handling the platform engineering part is, I already mentioned it. The entry point is having a developer portal. So basically, UI portal. It's like a store where you see all the service offerings of our platform engineering teams, and then you can select what you need, enter all the different configuration parameters. Yeah, how big is you want to order a database? So how much storage do you need there? How many CPUs and whatnot? And when it comes to the interface layer, I mean, we are all technical people, developers. So having an API and CLI interface there as well is very, very helpful. So in our case, we have a homegrown developer portal, which we use our parts of our ticketing system, which we extended to have that kind of store where developers can interact with the platforms. But if you're starting out from scratch on the greenfield, there are a lot of nice projects available that you can use, like Spotify Backstage, for example, which is a cloud native computing foundation project, and which is offering a quite sophisticated developer portal as interface. Then once developers and teams enter their information in the portal, you kind of need an orchestrator that is able to translate the parameters that you got into some operations. So the orchestrator will then take care of initializing a Terraform module, which then takes care of creating our database that was just ordered, for example, or creating a new Argo CD workflow in case you want to deploy a new application to a shared Kubernetes cluster, stuff like that. And all of that logic sits in the platform orchestrator. Here again, we rely on something which we developed ourselves. So basic REST interface that connects all the different dots here. But here again, there are quite some platforms available, open source, like Pratex, for example, that you could also use to build a platform orchestrator based on Kubernetes workloads. So that really comes down to where you're starting from. And then you're having your basic infrastructure as code, CI/CD chains, pretty normal stuff today to create all kinds of resources. In our case, here are just some examples that we are heavily using, like having Kafka, Kubernetes, as some examples. And we will show you some more in the next slide. So,
so talking to our internal customers, so customer in that presentation means not the customer outside, sending parcels with DLS, but the customer from group IT perspective. So all the legal entities that we have in the different countries, that means that we have to interact with them and to say, if we support you in the right way, and we want to support you in the right way, what do you need? And so it's It's these are the typical stages like you see in the top. So it's to explore, to talk to each other, to engage, to have an offer that they agree on, that they get onboarded, and we have the co-creation phase and the realization phase. So to onboard them to the group solutions. And if you think, oh, in that decentralized IT, it's quite easy. No, it's not, because you need to talk to each other, and this makes sense. So even in a partnership, to talk to each other, and as you see here, so we do our stuff. So we are the green bar on the bottom. The customer, so our country organizations are the other green bar, and there is a band of visibility. So they don't see everything of us. We don't see everything of them. So there's some guessing as well, and of course some potential for misunderstanding. So we have the service interaction going back and forth between us, and negotiating the best way of serving services to the countries. And as I mentioned, if you serve so many countries, of course, there are different requirements. There are different approaches, and to make the best of it and to foster a standardization, you need a real interaction with the customer. And if you do this service offering, so to reduce the complexity, it makes totally sense to have the 3Cs model in mind. So it's not our model, so it's not invented by us, but it's available even on ITIL, but it's still true. And so if you don't like ITIL, okay, it's your choice. So it's a personal opinion. But this one is something that I really like, because the three C's is about the 3Cs. So the first one is capability. So do you have the capability to serve the services to your internal customers on the right way? If not, you will have really an issue, and just never do over promising and under delivery. Makes no sense. And the same is with the commitment. So if you say, oh, we will define that standard, and you change your mind the next day, they miss a commitment, and in that case, no one will rely on some shared services. And the third one, and this is important as well, and it's the consistency. So do the same offering for many people. Don't say, oh, this customer will get a handcrafted solution A and another the handcrafted solution B, but all the others will get C. Makes totally no sense. It's not consistent, and the people would say they don't mean what they say. Just if you have these 3Cs in mind, you will get the trust that is in the middle of that. So just if you have all of these three, your internal customers will trust you. And this is quite important, that you have the trust and that they rely on you, because otherwise there will be people out there to say, oh, yes, we have a standard, but we have a better idea. Yeah, they're selling a good product, but it's not good enough for our purposes. And so it's a lot of interaction that you need to move on with that. Okay, let's go a little bit more in depth with our examples.
Yeah, sure. I would like to show you some example platforms that we are offering to our teams. So first is our API management. So yeah, as we told you in the introduction, we are having a lot of different development teams across different countries. We both work in the central IT department. So there we are having some developments ongoing as well. We have some external providers. Everybody is developing cool stuff. And then we have our cool APIs. And then we have externals outside of our enterprise that want to use them. So to simplify their way of consuming all of those services, like REST APIs. So we introduced an API gateway, which we sit in the middle to reduce all the complexity for them, for how we are running our internal developments. So for them, they can just rely on some domain-driven APIs that we design in that way, and the API gateway will take care of bringing the request to the right application in the teams. So here we are reducing complexity for external API consumers, but also for internal teams, which are oftentimes also relying on those APIs, of course. But the product development teams, they, of course, also have some more advantages when it comes to reducing complexity, because there are a lot of functions and capabilities provided by that API gateway approach out of the box for them. So, for example, they don't have to take care about throttling for the APIs or defining some quota. So how often can you call their APIs? So that's all built into the API management, which they can rely on. Also, certain security features, token validation and stuff like that is also something which we like to offload to the API gateway to just have that common standard for everybody, and also to make it easier for the team so that they can really focus more on the business part of their products. Mediation stuff like request. Transformation is something that you can use. We are very careful with that because it's building too much business logic into the API gateway is, from my experience, not a very good idea. So you should try to limit the interactions with the API gateway on more technical stuff, like traffic and so on. Also, to simplify the lives of our product development teams even more, you get some metrics that we collect for each and every API call that we get there. And you can create some dashboard based on those metrics or alerts, which show you the latency of your API, or is there an unusual number of error codes in your API, stuff like that. And you can have a look on the dashboards for some insights or send alerts to your favorite notifications channels. So that's all taking a lot of load and efforts away from the product development teams in those platforms, and makes the complexity much more handleable of providing more.
And maybe it's a good example to say, if you ease their work, they are more committed to a solution, because everyone will ask, what's in for me? So what is my benefit if I use it? Yeah, it's quite simple. So
of course,
we are all human beings, and if you have a benefit for yourself, you're more committed.
Yeah, definitely. So that's again coming back to your 3C model. You need the capabilities to build the trust, and you need to have the right capabilities that really help the team. So it's always important to be in touch with the teams and see if that's what suits them. If we have to adjust our service offerings, that's quite important. The second big part next to the API gateway within our API management platform is providing our API portal. So the API portal, again, goes in the direction of the self-service capabilities that I mentioned in the beginning of the platform engineering part. So here you can also, as an external entity and developer you can sign up and have a look on all APIs that are offered for JLS. Obviously, external APIs will be restricted, and internally people will have access to a lot of more APIs. And as an API consumer, you see that here on the right. I put an example on how to gain access to those APIs, because that's also happening in a self-service way. You can just sign in there, create some API credentials, and request access to an API, and that is all handled. So here again, we are providing that self-service interface to the API, so you can see the APIs also as sort of a platform, and the API consumers will have that dedicated way to interact with the providers of the API and gain access.
Let's move on.
Yes.
To the next example.
Next example, which is the second big platform that we are offering at the moment, which is our messaging platform. So you saw JLS is pretty spread across the globe with different teams there. If you send a parcel, it have to move through that whole logistic network also physically. And in the different stages where the parcel is moving, you also need to have data ready to handle a parcel. Today, it's often, if not always, about data. And here it's not different. In order to provide the different things, like you want to see where your parcel is, you need to have the data ready, and we need to bring all those data producers and consumers together in our system. Clients today want to have the insights and as detailed information as possible. So you don't want to have that uncertainty when your parcel is coming. You want to know, okay, driver is 15 minutes away, 3 stops away, and to achieve that, you need to have the data really available in time when they are needed.
This is something that the market is expecting from us, that you get more accurate information. Not the parcel is coming tomorrow, and you say, okay, thank you.
That's unplannable.
Yeah. And even if you use a locker, if you have an oversized parcel, you need the delivery because it does not fit the locker. We have to take care that the customer get the right information. So the person will be there in some stops, or as you mentioned, in some minutes. So the more accurate you are, the more happy your customers are. And this is all based on the retail messaging.
Exactly. We already touched it. So why we decided for that, because of the decentralization of our IT, we want to have those independent, decoupled applications, which is a good argument for event-driven architecture. It needs to be very scalable, because if the number of parcel grows, also our amount of data will grow. So we really need that to support the business. It has to be highly available so that we can, we are talking about parcels. So if the platform is down and data are not available, it could happen that there are parcels piling up somewhere in a location. So it's quite important for us to have that real high availability. And we of course try to be independent from certain cloud providers. They are also in terms of highly availability, because that way, so you already saw it for sure in the title, we are relying on Kafka here rather than the cloud native offering from AWS or Azure, so that we are able to scale out the platform also to different cloud providers in terms of scalability and highly availability. So let's have a look on some service offerings that we have. Obviously, we have different applications within GLS that are able to request topics within Kafka, which is the kind of a message queue. If you don't know Kafka in detail, teams can request that centrally in our platform engineering team to consume messages that they need or publish some. We are offering the Connect cluster in order to simplify connecting all kinds of systems. So if you are that familiar with Kafka, it is offering the Connects API, which are all kinds of connectors for different systems, which eases it to get data in and out of Kafka. So like we use that, for example, to ship data from our existing databases to Kafka. So one mechanism to do that is change data capturing. That's something which we rely quite a lot on for existing systems. So that's working like you have a database and all kinds of transactions that are committed to the database. Like here in the example, we are changing the status of the parcel from in transit to delivered. So those operations will be committed sooner or later to a transaction log of the database. Usually that's more used for disaster recovery cases. But you can also use that for change data capturing, monitor all of those transactions, convert them in Kafka messages and publish it there. So to get some inputs from the existing database in Kafka and connect existing systems to our new way of working and have that event-driven way of accessing data. And also the nice thing about that transaction log CDC is that you don't have any big impacts on the database performance itself because it's separated from the database.
Yeah, let's move on to the third example, and this is more a cultural thing than a vendor thing. So it's not a product; it's more a cultural thing. And we don't really know if you're familiar with this term inner sourcing. It's the idea to do not reuse what you have from the open source community, but to reuse what you have as an internal code base. Let's name it this way. Yeah. So let's start with a simple question. So if you have, like we have, 1,200 IT pros under 27 locations, why should we reinvent the wheel again and again and again and again? Because if you work in different countries, you're not connected day by day to the others. And maybe you say, oh, we need that, but another one did it already, and you can reuse it. So be faster, be more accurate because it's already tested in the other country, in the other team. This is something that is really important based on the simple number of IT pros here, that there are good people out there, so you can trust them. They are colleagues, yeah? So.
Yeah. So at the moment, because of the decentralized teams that we are having, most of them are working in very independent streams, having independent timelines, developing their products, which oftentimes are closed source. So no other teams know about the source code and their developments. Yeah? So there are examples here and there, of course, but usually you really have everybody working on their stuff. And if you want to reuse certain things, also for our platform parts, yeah, you would have to make a feature request to the team. You might want to have some new feature in our Kafka platform. You request that from our platform engineering team. It ends up in their backlog, and once it gets prioritized, it is implemented. Yeah, but obviously that will take time, and you are dependent on the timeline of those teams. So, yeah. Especially for the platform parts where you have one team offering a platform and then multiple teams consuming it, that's not very scalable. So to solve that, we want to go more in that inner sourcing approach, which means first step to go in that direction would be to make the source code accessible by other teams. So they are able to read the source code in that phase, are able to maybe do a fork, do a deployment on their own, just to make it more open and also make more transparent what you have. Also when it comes to product development. So maybe one team is developing a nice app and another team is interested in reusing that or getting some ideas of it, just see how they approach things, how they integrated certain services. So it's already improvement to reuse existing things. More on a code level. And of course, the big change then comes once you allow contributions by other teams, and then you are really going in that open source direction. Yeah, so you have one team that is able to make a pull request for a feature that they want to have. Yeah, and the other team has to review the feature, of course, because it's still their code base that they are maintaining. And once it's okay, you can merge your feature in there, but you don't rely fully on the availability and the time of the owning team. Yeah, so you have some more influence to implement stuff that you need yourself. And then the really last golden stage would be to have a shared code base. So that basically developers from different areas, different teams, or in our case, maybe different countries, would be able to work together on certain projects. Yeah, like you have a certain, maybe another app that you want to develop, yeah, and then you have one repository, developer from different countries working together on that single source code. You have maintainers of all of those countries that are able to do things there. and collaborate on that. And you also have a common backlog, for that code base, and that is shared by all. So then we are really in the comparable to how open source is working, where you have those GitHub issues and stuff. People are working on them together, independent, in one code base, and everybody can reuse the outcome for their purposes. Okay. So what do we want to achieve with that? Is obviously reusing artifacts that we already have.
And teams can have the look of code of other teams, so they can learn how they did it. Maybe they had an idea that this team never had before, so you get some inspiration, and this is a benefit as well.
Yeah, also when it comes to code quality, if code is open, everybody can have a look, and so maybe you are able to find bugs faster, find security holes and stuff like that. Of course, as you already mentioned, driving innovation, give developers some freedom to also come up with interesting tools, offer them to others, and then maybe some new things that you didn't thought of in the beginning form and can be reused.
Yeah, and of course, it's we want to cross the siloed communities, because typically you work closely with the person you're sitting next to, or who is familiar with the language that you speak. But we want to have the people moving up and say, oh, there are people in other countries. They are really helpful. Let's have a community with other people.
And last but not least, I think is also nice for the developers. So for me as a technical person, it would definitely make me enjoy my job more if I would have the freedom to work on different things and contribute to different areas, and not just stuck with one particular product.
Yeah.
So that's another benefit here.
But of course, there are cultural challenges as well. So we don't want to talk to you and say, oh, it's all perfect. No, it's not. And it's a long way to go, because there are still boundaries and to have this company-wide community. Yeah. So to say, oh, I want to interact and I want to tell the person something that I learned. So to have this openness cross-country and cross legal entities.
Exactly. So we really have to also foster open communication. Yeah. So in order to make stuff really reusable, you have to kind of know where things are going. What's the direction of a certain product? Be transparent when it comes to roadmaps, so that you can fully rely on those things. And also when it comes to communication today, oftentimes stuff is handled within Teams meetings and very in a synchronous way. But if you want to have that decentralized communication, you have to get more used to commenting tickets, answering email lists. And
for example, our US developers are based in California. So for them, it's now 12:54 a.m. So it's really early in the morning. They are sleeping, so we are not able to talk to them by now because they are sleeping. Yeah,
exactly. Also, you really have to put a lot of effort into documentation as well, more than you're used to at the moment, because if you don't have the documentation available to make others know how they can contribute and use the stuff you implemented, it's not reusable.
And of course, it's an additional effort to review and contribute codes to other teams. So if you do it on your own and you just talk to your own, you have always an expert talk because you talk to your own. But if you talk to different people, it needs some more time.
Yeah, and that really needs to be considered by the teams and the managers as well to make some time to do so. You also have to recognize contributions to other teams' code bases, because if you don't appreciate that on a management level, developers will have a hard time in making time and doing that.
Yeah. So to sum it up a little bit, we have just 5 minutes left. What are the best practices? So as a conclusion of our today's session, let's start with the first one. To reduce complexity, it's a modularization.
Yeah, I mean, you have to come up with sensible modules that make sense to reuse. Yeah, when it comes to platforms, find platforms modules that you can and should provide centrally and share. And also when it comes to code, you have to split the code up in a way that you have reusable parts and some team-specific parts to make that happen. Loose communication, loose coupling, that's going on an organizational level. That's like asynchronous communication that you need to foster. On a technical level, if you have a lot of different systems attached to it, you shouldn't build too hard connections on it to loosen up the dependencies on different systems. Yeah, reuse, quite obvious. That's the goal of all our things. Try to make things as reusable as possible to improve the efficiency. Yeah.
And last but not least, to have the standards in place so that we don't use different tools, that we don't use different approaches, but to learn from each other. And this just makes sense if we use the same tech stack, more or less. And of course, it's about agility and the time to value. So we want to speed up because we have to speed up. The market speeds up, and we want to serve our customers. So the people who send the parcel and who get the parcel, so the so-called consignee, to give them the best service that they can get on the market. And based on that, the standards are really important. But of course, it's all about communication and the standards. So if you say to the people, you have to use it because you have to use it, you will never get a buy-in. So you need to communicate the benefits. So always the question, what's in for me? If you use it, and how can you move on? So this is a very important point. So standards is not just to defining, like I saw it on different sites, was it the book of golden standards, one folder with 500 pages. No, you have to be in touch with the people and learn if the standard fits their needs really good, or if you have to improve that standard. Yeah, so we are on time, pretty nice. If you have any questions, please post them in the chat. And otherwise, we are on site on the on-site meeting this afternoon. So if you see our faces here, yes, we are the people. Just talk to us. We are not dangerous. We are really friendly and lovely people. So just be open and not shy.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. No questions. No questions. You are shy. Okay. So thank you very much. We're on time. Have a great day and enjoy the rest of the Pozitive event.
See you later. Bye.
See you. Bye.